Okay, so welcome Year 12s to your first online lesson. Today's theme is perseverance in the face of adversity. And I thought it was really important to think about these themes and to motivate ourselves and find some inspiration. Because at the moment we're all facing a great challenge. I don't know what's going on in your personal circumstance, but everybody is facing a challenge. Some people can't travel and they want to see loved ones. Some people are fighting in the supermarkets. Some people are just worried about what's going to happen to them or their loved ones. So we're all facing some adversity and challenge right now. And it's important that we overcome them. And I want to turn to a particular person. In the world of boxing, Tyson Fury, 2 years ago, was completely out of shape. As we can see here, he should be a prime athlete. We should be able to see all of his muscles. He should be lean and trim, but we can see he's clearly overweight for an athlete. And many people didn't know that Tyson Fury was suffering from mental health issues, and he was battling his own demons. He was severely depressed and he was suicidal. And there was a particular time that he recalls. He was in his Ferrari because he was incredibly successful, a multi-millionaire, had everything in the world apart from peace of mind. But he was in his Ferrari, speeding towards the end of a bridge. He was about 500 meters away, traveling at about 200 miles per hour. And he heard a voice that said, "Don't do it." As he was about to take his life, "Don't do it." And he pulled the car over, sobbing uncontrollably, tears flooding down his face. And it's in that moment he realized he couldn't take his life and that he had a higher purpose. But to the outside world, it looked like Tyson Fury had everything. He had a family, he was married, he had all the cars, all the money, very successful. But he was struggling. 2 years later, Tyson Fury, a couple of weeks ago, became the heavyweight champion of the world, reclaimed his titles. What's particularly motivating about this story is that the challenges that he faced, he was able to persevere. He started training again, eating healthily, seeking help for his psychological or mental issues, and he overcame those challenges to come out on top. So where you are right now, probably not being able to do the things you like, not being able to travel, not being able to come to school, have access to your teachers whenever you like, I want you to continue to persevere in that challenge and keep going, because you will come out on top if you don't give up and you believe in yourself. Okay. So today we're going to be focusing on adding detail to our sentences. Okay. So our success criteria is to understand the different word types and their function. So you've got various word types, okay? In any language, words have different functions. By function, we mean its purpose, the job it does. Okay? So it's important that we understand the different roles different words play. I want you to understand how to add detail to your sentences. This is so key. If you're to add depth to your writing, your work needs to have detail. And how to accurately identify adjectives. If you can spot something, then you can use it. If you can explain it, then you can use it even more skillfully. So this is where we're trying to get to. These three things really. Okay, so your do now activity. I want you to look at that sentence, the cat sat on the mat, and I would like you to answer those 4 questions and pause the video whilst you're thinking about those questions and writing your answers down. Okay, so you can pause the video now for your do now activity. Okay, so in the questions that you were thinking about, one of them was, what is a mistake in that sentence? And clearly that sentence required a full stop to be grammatically correct. Okay, right, so at this point I would advise you to write this sentence down And as I'm going through this slide and explaining the different word types and their function, I would advise that you make notes and you annotate this sentence. So the first word that we have, this type of word, the, is called a determiner. The determiner specifies what is being spoken about or being written about. So we might say an apple or a desk. A, the, an, they are all determiners and they specify what is being spoken about. Next, we've got the subject. The subject in a sentence is the thing that performs an action. All sentences must have a verb. That's just one of the things it must have to be grammatically correct. So the subject is the thing that performs the verb, the action in the sentence. And we know verbs are actions, they're doing words. We already explained what determiners are. And an object is the thing upon which the action is performed. So it doesn't perform the action, but it receives the action. Okay, so think of it like, I don't know, somebody catching a ball. For somebody to catch a ball, somebody must have thrown it. So if somebody threw it, they're the subject, and the object is the person that caught the ball, or maybe the ball hit them. Okay, so the action was performed upon them. I hope that makes sense. If not, again, go and do your own research, Google it, go to your encyclopedia or to a dictionary and discover these things for yourself and really grasp the knowledge so you fully understand it. Lastly, we've got prepositions. Prepositions tell us where something is located. So the cat sat not beside the mat, not in front of the mat, not behind the mat, but on the mat. On would be the preposition because it tells you where something is located. Okay, really simple sentence. So we're going to look at upgrading that sentence. So before you thought about what kinds of words were lacking in the sentence, the cat sat on the mat. And look here, here's one I made earlier. So we've got our basic sentence, the cat sat on the mat, right? And as you can see here, I've added in a couple of words. So we've got malicious and malevolent. We've got sinisterly on the tattered and dusty mat. And here I've added a few more details, which was placed outside of the derelict building. Okay, so let's just take a look of how I upgraded this sentence. So we've got the malicious and malevolent cat sinisterly sat on the tattered and dusty mat which was placed outside of the derelict building. So here we've got some adjectives that I've added in, a conjunction, an adverb that describes how something is being done, and we've got some more adjectives, and I've got another clause here. Okay, so words have different functions, and those functions are important to understand because that is how you're able to add detail and really communicate using good written English, and your writing sounds more sophisticated, more eloquent, and just sounds like you have a greater command of the English language. So it's really important that you master these things and practice them. Okay, so this is going to help you with AO3 for general paper. And AO3 is about the ability to communicate with clear written English and express detail. So you can improve the quality of your writing by including greater detail. Greater detail does the following to your writing. You can provide depth. We know for general papers it's always important to go into depth with your work. Ensure that you're clear, that you're communicating what you want to say. Draw attention to important ideas. Not all ideas will have equal value. So it's important that you're able to use language to draw attention to the most important things that you want your reader to leave with. Also add sophistication. If you have a better vocabulary, you just sound more eloquent, you're able to communicate more clearly. Okay, so I hope you remember what prepositions are and you've got your annotations down. What I'd like you to do, you're going to write these two sentences down and you're going to fill in the blanks. The first blank will be filled in with an animal of your choice. Okay? So here I've used the lion. The second blank will be filled in with a preposition. Again, if you've forgotten what prepositions are, go back to your notes or go back to the earlier slide where I explained what a preposition is. Okay? So your task now is to complete these two sentences. The first gap should have an animal of your choice, and you should insert into the second gap a preposition of your choice. Pause the video now whilst you complete those tasks. Okay, we can move on from there. We're going to focus on adjectives. Adjectives tell us a few things. They tell us what kind. So for example, classic literature or French language. Which one? This novel, these characters, an apple, that elephant. Tell us how many, and they tell us how much, to what degree. It's a some or a little or much. So if we come back to our earlier exercise, the cat sat on the mat, and we're focusing on some adjectives, we could think about what color a cat is, the size, the breed. All of these will be adjectives to describe the cat. We could focus on the mat. What type of mat? The condition and the size. All of these things tell us what. Okay? What kind. So, you're going to complete a task now. I want you to focus on these sentences and you're going to identify the adjectives in this passage. Okay, so remember, adjectives tell us what kind, which one, how many, and how much. So you're going to read through all of these sentences in this passage and identify the adjectives. You can pause now and begin to do that and write the adjectives down. Okay, there are more on this slide. You're doing the same thing. You're identifying the adjectives in that passage. You can pause the video now and complete that task. Okay, once you've completed the task, you are able to move on. What I'd like you to do is reflect on today's lesson. So I want to hear from you. I want you to tell me about today's learning experience by clicking here and completing the Google exit ticket. I look forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions, you can email me. I hope you have found today's lesson useful.